Hello there, guys. Welcome back to your Lincoln 1 Chelsea 2 match preview. Chelsea survive a Carabao Cup scare from a dreadful first half and a shock first half Lincoln opener. It took Tyrique George and Facundo Buonanotte to flip the game on its head. Is this a sign of Chelsea's strong mentality or another worrying reminder of Chelsea's weaknesses? Let's break this game down. And as I always say, it's always beautiful to build, a beautiful Chelsea community here. So if you want to be part of it, subscribe. Now, let's start with the lineup because Enzo Maresca made a lot of changes in this particular game. Obviously, we started with Philip Jorgensen. At left back, we started with Euro Hato. At left centre back, we had Wesley Fofana. Right centre back, we had Trevor Chalobah, who is perhaps one of the main team players that was in this particular game. Then at left, not left but right back, we had Malo Gusto. In midfield, we had Enzo Fernandez and Andre Santos. Now the forward line, we had Tyrique George up top, Garnacho and Jamie Gittens on both wings. And in the number 10 position, we had Facundo Buonanotte. Now, this was quite an unexpected lineup because Lincoln City is not a very tough opposition when you compare to the world champions in Chelsea. So basically, we expected Enzo Maresca to make this kind of rotation. But what we did not expect is the events that took place in this particular game, because you can't imagine how much Chelsea was troubled by Lincoln City. Now, let's look at the events that took place in this particular game. And the first half was quite rigid for Chelsea. We were, let's be honest with each other, in the first half, we were outplayed, completely outplayed. Now, Lincoln City, of course, from an Enzo Fernandez era, he was passing the ball to Trevor Chalobah, but the ball is intercepted by a Lincoln City player and they put it right past Jorgensen. I mean, that was a rightful goal if you look at the performance that Lincoln City had, because in that part first half, Lincoln City completely outplayed Chelsea, and this was because of intensity, really, not matters to do with tactics or game plan or formation or anything. Lincoln City wanted it much, much, much more than us. Okay, so now Chelsea go into the halftime break 1-0 down, and now you think, well, Enzo Maresca is going to reorganize the team, prepare the team to mount a comeback, and obviously we know there was so many first team members in the bench, so we expected a few changes if the game was not going our way. So we come back into the second half, and Tyrique George did another Fulham strike. This guy loves saving Chelsea, especially in moments when Chelsea needs him. Because you remember that particular goal against Fulham, we were 1-0 down against Fulham in the around 83rd or something, 83rd minute. And Tyrique George put a fantastic strike that gave Chelsea the confidence to go ahead and get the win in that particular match. And he did the same thing in this particular match against Lincoln City. And I think this is the reason why Enzo Maresca keeps playing Tyrique George ahead of McGill. Because we have been told that McGill is eligible to play in this Carabao Cup for Chelsea. So the reason why Enzo Maresca keeps playing Tyrique George is because of this kind of fantastic moments. Because Tyrique George was not so much in the game in the first half, but that fantastic strike that he took outside the box and gave Chelsea the equalizer, and again he provided the assist a few minutes later, provided the assist for Facundo Buonanotte's goal that gave Chelsea the lead. And Chelsea, let's be honest with each other, we almost survived this, because the kind of performance that we saw from Lincoln City, especially in the first half, if we did not manage to get those second half goals early on, you could feel that Lincoln City were so motivated to cause a huge problem for Chelsea. Now, let us look at the grand scheme of the game. I mean, the performances from the players. I mean, Jorgensen had a very poor performance. I mean, he came out for claims several times and missed most of those claims. He would come out for the ball and he would not make it. Then he would come out for the next ball and he would still not make it. And he would come out for the third ball and will still not make it. And you wonder, what is wrong with Jorgensen today? Because a player can have a bad performance, but that one felt like Philip Jorgensen was not ready for this match. Was he mentally there? There's a problem with Philip Jorgensen because there's no way you will come out, even if you're not a trained goalkeeper. There's no way you are coming out for claims once, twice, thrice, four times, five times, and you still miss all those claims. I mean, that was quite telling. It reminds me of the time that Chelsea fans were calling for Philip Jorgensen to begin getting starts ahead of Robert Sanchez. Now you understand why that could never happen and will never happen in this Chelsea team, because that was a very sick performance from Philip Jorgensen. In fact, it was more like an abnormal performance from him. That was very poor. Now, the backline, Trevor Chalobah was amazing. But I thought Wesley Fofana, Yoro Hato were quite shaky. Malo Gusto had a fantastic game. When we moved to midfield, Andre Santos was amazing. And another question mark on Chelsea's captain, Enzo Fernandez. This guy is performing poorly over and over again. Now, is Enzo Fernandez going to be dropped at some point? Because at this rate, especially when you have a high performing midfielder like Andre Santos on the bench, I think Enzo Fernandez should sit off some of these games. This guy is having poor performances. Poor performances. In fact, he led to that goal that we conceded from Lincoln by that pass to Trevor Chalobah that was intercepted. And over and above that, you cannot pinpoint what Enzo Fernandez is bringing to this team, because he's being played further forward and he's not assisting, he's not scoring. So you wonder, apart from his lack of physicality and losing passes here and there, he's not providing anything solid to this particular team. So I think Enzo Fernandez is and has become a question mark right now for Chelsea. And I think Enzo Maresca is quite slow to put him on the bench because obviously he's the captain, and Maresca does not want to shake up the dressing room. But I think in the end, Enzo Fernandez will need to be rested. Now, the wingers, I mean, Jamie Gittens and this Garnacho guy. I mean, these are two wingers that we expect to have them in the first team. We expect Jamie Gittens to be good enough for the first team because, of course, we paid a lot of money for him. We expect Alejandro Garnacho to be good enough for the first team because, again, we paid a lot of money for him from Man United. But these are two players that have provided absolutely nothing against a very poor opposition like Lincoln City. I mean, did Chelsea finally make their mistakes in these two wingers? Because for sure, Garnacho is not good enough. From the time I have seen him in a Chelsea shirt, is not good enough. And I thought maybe Alejandro Garnacho would perform much better than Gittens. But today, having them on the pitch, be it Garnacho played most part of the game on the right wing, which is not his position. But still, those were two poor outings from those two players. Facundo Buonanotte, you can say, had an okay game. Again, he was not overly fantastic, but again, he wasn't as poor as Alejandro Garnacho and Jamie Gittens were. Now, Tyrique George, I think did not have a very good first half, but this is because Chelsea did not offer much going forward. But in the second half, the goal that he scored, that was a goal from himself. That's not a goal that was created on him. That's not a tapping. That was a fantastic goal. And again, he provided the assist for Facundo Buonanotte's goal, and that makes Tyrique George the man of the match from Stamford Voice. And I think Tyrique George is an amazing player, and he's going to do amazing things for Chelsea. Now, let's talk about what this does in the grand scheme of things. Chelsea, in the last 3 games, we have not had a good performance. Bayern Munich game, that was a poor performance. Manchester United game, even if we got the red card, we started the game very, very poorly in the first 6 minutes, which again led to the red card. Today, we had a poor first half. I think Chelsea needs to wake up. Things are not going to be easy if we continue playing this like this going forward, especially in the weekend when we are going to play a high performing Brighton team. If we don't start the game properly, we are going to get beaten. Now, give me your thoughts on that Chelsea performance. Tell me if you think Chelsea made a mistake by bringing in Jamie Gittens and Alejandro Garnacho to the club, because I think their performance was very poor. Thank you so much for keeping it here. See you in the next one.